All right, well, good morning, everyone. Everyone's looking very nice today. Today, I wanted to talk about a topic that maybe most of you hopefully are familiar with, and that is Pokemon. Yay, Pokemon! All right. So recently, Pokemon had a collaboration with the global streamer known as Netflix. And they made a show called Pokemon Concierge. Am I saying that word right? Concierge? Concierge, okay. All right. So it's like sort of this stop motion stuff. So how many people have Netflix? Most people? Okay, good. So if you have Netflix, you can watch it. If you don't have Netflix, you should go onto YouTube and find the making of Pokemon Concierge, because just seeing how they do it is incredible. So it's the stop motion thing. It's very beautiful, just visually how it looks. But anyway, so this show, originally produced in Japan, so you can watch it in the original Japanese, but also they have an English dub. But the concept of it, perhaps, is not super geared towards kids. I mean, kids can still enjoy it, obviously, just to kind of watch it. The themes are maybe a little bit more for grown-ups. It's funny how it started out as this game for kids, and just kind of like Harry Potter kind of grew up, and then everyone that read it grew up with it, so it got like more kind of mature towards the end. Same thing with like Pokemon stuff now, where they have stuff geared towards like adults. So the premise of this show is that there's a woman who is going through kind of a tough time in her life. So she feels like she's stuck. In the beginning, it says like her boyfriend breaks up with her, and then she steps in gum, and then she has to do a presentation that she forgot about, and then she makes curry and it doesn't taste good, and then she fails the presentation, and then she steps in gum again. So she just has like a bad string of events and decides she wants to change things up. So she goes to a resort, which is on an island away from where she lives. So at this resort, people typically understand, Pokemon, what they exist for is to like fight, right? Is to battle, and that's what's fulfilling in their lives, right? The Pokemon trainer, and they're always training, and they're always fighting. But it shows kind of this other side of the lives of Pokemon, where they go to this resort, and they go to this resort specifically to relax. So to kind of get away from all the training and everything, and all the battling, and just to have a good time. And the woman, her name is Haru, so she goes to the Pokemon resort to actually change her job. So she goes and accepts a job there, and so she becomes a Pokemon concierge, hence the name of the show. So the purpose of a Pokemon concierge is sort of like a hotel concierge or a resort concierge, where the purpose is to take care of the guests and make sure that they enjoy the resort, which seems like easy enough of a task, right? But she gets into all these kind of hijinks trying to figure that out, and the owner of the resort, or the one person who's running it, is trying to help guide her in her life, because she's in this place that's stuck. She has these kind of ideas of how she was supposed to be, and trying to let go of that stuff and just sort of live her life and have fun is like the theme of it. So if you're kind of a weathered traveler in your job, in your life, it's a good kind of like heartwarming show to watch, and you feel nice. Very, very low stakes. So if you've been watching all these like intense shows, then you can take a break and watch this one. They're like 15 minutes long or something, and there's only 4 of them, so you can finish it like in an hour. Anyway. So I wanted to talk specifically about one of the episodes where she's trying to help these guests, both the humans and the Pokemon, enjoy their stay at the resort. And there's a young boy that comes with his Pikachu. So everyone very familiar with Pikachu, right? The Pokemon, right? Okay. So when you think of Pikachu, what are some of the characteristics of a Pikachu, like in terms of their personality? With the cheeks, right? They've got the red cheeks. Yeah? No? Kind of friendly? Yeah? Very cute? Energetic? Yeah, maybe? Okay. Can you do your best, Pikachu? Pika! That was a good one. Pika! Oh, there he is, a good one. Okay, very good. Do you need prompting? Should I like, Pikachu, use Thunderbolt? Fantastic. All right. Very good. So that's what Pikachu sounds like, right? But this Pikachu that the boy comes to resort with is not very energetic. They draw, the smile, and instead of a smile like the Pikachu normally has, it's like the upside down, the carrot or whatever. So it's like unhappy. And it's not very loud. So the boy is like, my Pikachu, it's not very Pikachu-like, it's not very energetic, it's not very loud. I'd like for us to come to this resort so that we could kind of get it out of its shell to be, at the very least, just to speak a little bit louder. So they try these different things to get the kind of big voice out of Pikachu. They try something exhilarating. They go on a zip line. There's a very kind of Japanese tradition where they go up to a mountaintop and they yell off of it to hear like the echo. So these things don't work. They try giving Pikachu a really spicy soup for some reason. I don't know. I guess that would make you energetic. And then finally they try just straight up like scaring Pikachu. So as they're walking by, they have somebody jump out and scare, and everyone's scared except for Pikachu, just kind of like, eh. So they're going through this process of trying to make Pikachu more Pikachu-like, but Haru has this realization that they've had a lot of different kinds of guests at the resort. So she's seen a lot of different Pokemon there, and there's a ghost Pokemon who's like afraid of the dark. There's a dancing bird Pokemon that doesn't like to dance. So these, actually I'm not too familiar with the newer ones, so I don't remember what their names are. These are like kind of the newer Pokemon. Anyway, so there's these Pokemon that are supposed to be a certain way, and it seems like they're the opposite. And so Haru says, I was the same way when I got to this resort. I thought I was always supposed to act mature. The Japanese word they use is like otona rashi, which is like, it translated as, you're supposed to be a grown-up at all times, but it's like kind of more mature. She also thought that she was always supposed to be hip and cool, I guess as a concierge is supposed to be. To be honest, I haven't really had too long conversations with a lot of concierge, so I don't know if are they hip and cool? Yeah? Okay. So yeah, they're supposed to be cool, they're supposed to be mature, and she had this image of a concierge in her head, and it gave her a lot of anxiety. And if you have that sort of mentality, then it's very easy to get stuck. However, she was able to recognize that sometimes the way that we think we're supposed to be isn't always the reality, isn't how people are. And so it's important for us to accept for ourselves who we are and accept others for who they are. In the same way, this young boy should accept Pikachu, that just because this Pikachu isn't so cute and energetic, even though it isn't so loud, it doesn't mean that it's not Pikachu. Pikachu is still Pikachu. So he ends up bonding with his Pikachu. They go down like a hillslide and stuff, and so they have a happy ending as they're leaving. I think as the boat's like pulling out, she can hear Pikachu yelling really loudly. But anyway, so this idea of these labels that we put on things is very easy to apply to Pokemon, because like their name, it draws up some kind of image in your head, how it's supposed to be, and it doesn't help too that the only thing that they can do is say their name. So there's this idea of putting these labels on certain beings, which tells you what kind of characteristics that they're supposed to have. Now this can obviously apply to all of us in our own lives too. These different kind of characteristics that apply to our lives depending on what sort of labels we or other people put on us. So for myself, my livelihood is I am a minister. And I always thought that there was a specific kind of way like a minister was supposed to be, right? So when I was coming up to the program, when I became a minister, whenever I would meet other ministers, I would ask them like, oh, what makes a good minister? What should I know as like a minister or something? And people would give me their advice, from what they learned. I would also look at other ministers and see them kind of look up to them and say like, oh, this is like a good minister. And I'm not saying that other ministers like, oh, this is a bad minister, but like maybe this isn't a minister that I would be. But anyway, so there's these different kinds of ministers, and we decide, what makes a good minister or what a minister is supposed to look like or be like, and then try to emulate that. And so it gave me a lot of anxiety because I wanted to be a good minister. I want to be what people needed or what they wanted, try to fulfill that role for people in their lives. And truly, it probably wasn't until like this Dharma school year that I started to feel a little bit more comfortable in the role of being a minister. And it's because I've gotten good feedback from people. So if you want to give me feedback, it's fantastic. But they kind of noticed and they saw things that I were doing and giving me not the advice necessarily, but the feedback of like, look, if you're up there, if you are having fun, if you're enjoying, if it's meaningful for you, then other people will be happy. They will identify with it. They will enjoy it too. And so understanding that really helped me to become kind of a more minister that's like me instead of this minister that I expect or what a minister should be, and just being myself as a minister. And this is an important aspect within our tradition of Jodo Shinshu, in that Jodo Shinshu emphasizes recognizing our own limitations. So Shinran Chonin recognized his limitations in terms of Buddhist practice and spiritual progression and applied that to his practice. And then so for all of us, it's also important to think upon ourselves and recognize our own limitations as well. However, while that seems kind of like more of a negative view of looking at it, in Buddhism, we also want to practice compassion for all beings, including ourselves. So within this context, self-compassion is doing this soul-searching, is doing this understanding of our limitations without judgment. So without judging ourselves for having these limitations, being critical or mean to ourselves for it, and just accepting and understanding it. Another practice within Jodo Shinshu is that of non-attachment. So we have suffering because we cling to certain things. We cling to expectations. We expect our lives to go a certain way. We expect ourselves to be a certain way. And a lot of this is tied to the identities that we either give ourselves or that other people place upon us. So we have these identities that we create, and if we cling too much to them, then it will cause us that suffering. So by recognizing that these concepts, that these identities, whether it's our self-identity or something, a label given to us by other people, that these are simply constructs of our mind, that they're all created in our imagination, they're things that we make up, things that don't actually exist, which is different from the reality of who we actually are. If we see that and the difference between there, we can learn to let go of these identities, to let go of these labels, and find what is truly most fulfilling to all of us. So you can be the most, whatever you, right? If you're a Matt or if you're a Pikachu, you can, or Mewtwo, you can find whatever is the best for you, letting go of these labels that we put on ourselves and allowing your life to flourish in the best way that's possible for each and every individual. If you please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.